At the beginning of the story we see that a company is cutting down the Amazon forest, due to which the houses of the native tribes in the forest was also being destroyed. Then we see a college student, Justine, where we also see her classmate Alejandro. And Alejandro sends his friend to Justin, and that friend invites her to the evening meeting by giving her pamphlet. Next, Justine goes to lunch with her father, where we learn that her father is a lawyer of the United Nations. At night, Justin goes to her friend's meeting, where Alejandro reveals that a company is cutting down the Amazon forest for petroleum, and they are also destroying house of native tribal there. Then Justine says, well, we have to starve in the forest to save their houses. Here Alejandro does not like her thought, and asks her to leave the meeting. Next day he meets Justine and says we should help them, because they deserve it. After that they all together make a plan to save the forest, in which they talk that the company which is cutting the forest will also have an army, and the worst thing is that there will be no signal for communication. Seeing this situation, they decided we will go to forest and hack the company signal, and become live on social platform by which many peoples will come in our support, and due to which the company has to stop its work. And all friends agree with Alejandro's plan. Justine talks to her father and says that I am going on a trip with my friends for a few days, but she doesn't tell him anything about the trip. When everyone arrived at the airport, they met a boy who was funding this trip, and they start their journey by sitting on a small airplane. Going ahead they hire a rickshaw and reach the hotel. Shortly after, they sail in the boat and reach their destination. After reaching there, everyone wears the same uniform, and Alejandro's friend hands over the chains and locks to everyone. So they lock themselves with the company bulldozers and trees. Justin's lock was not working properly, so she was unable to lock herself. They all stats their work, wearing masks on their faces. Within minutes the company soldiers reaches there, and Alejandro showing all this live on social platform. The soldiers try to capture them, but they were locked and chained. Just then a soldier grabs Justin because her chain wasn't locked, and he takes off Justin's mask and he's about to shoot her. Justine asks Alejandro for help, but he doesn't help her, and says her father is a lawyer in UN. Kill her, then see what will happen to you guys. Justin become helpless, and then the soldier receives a call from someone. Consequently all the soldiers putting their guns on the ground. This call came because of Justin, and everyone has survived because of Justin. After some time the police come and they arrest them, but here the plan leader gives some money to the police and makes them free. And they start returning by plane. Here they are celebrating, and think they become famous and become the heroes of the country, but here Justine is not happy because they used Justine for their plan. Then something goes wrong in the plane, and the plane crashes in the jungle, and many people die in this crash. Now there were a few survived left, and one of whom was looking for his GPS, so that he could send messages and ask for help. Then they heard a voice. Then Alejandro's friend is moving towards the voice, she thinking that there is someone who will help them. Then an arrow hit her neck. Seeing this, Alejandro started helping her, then another arrow came and hit her forehead. Those who do all this are the wild tribals of that forest. And the wild people make the survivors unconscious. Here the survivor who is looking for the GPS, finally he find it, but before asking for help, he is also made unconscious. After this, the wild people take all the survivors to their tribe, where the tribal people look at the survivor, just like they have never seen such humans before. Now an old tribal woman comes to that place and sees all the survivors. Then she says something to the tribal people in her own language, after which all the survivors are locked in the cage. And all the friends see that one of their friend is missing. Then their eyes go to his friend, with whom the tribal people are performing rituals. The tribal people give a drink to the man and then make him lie down at a place. Then the old tribal women comes there, and take out both the eyes of the men, and then cut off his tongue and eats it. All the wild people start celebrating, and their leader starts cutting off the body part of that man, and finally cutting off his head and drinking his blood. Here all the survivors learn that these people are man-eaters, after which some wild women start cooking the body part, and all the friends see their friend, cooked in front of their eyes. After the meat is cooked, all the tribal peoples eat together, and the tribal people choose that man because he was looking tasty and healthy. All survivor are arguing in the night, that neither they come here to stop that company, nor they become victim. Then Alejandro says that we did not stop any company, and I made this plan to help another company, so that other company can get this work, and their men will reach here in 3 days, but all were being upset thinking that wild peoples will end them within 3 days. Then Alejandro say to them, our friend is so bulky and he can fulfill their appetite for 3 days. After hearing this, Justin gets angry and says, how can you be such a big double face? Here everyone finds out that Alejandro is very selfish person. Next morning some tribal child awaken them, then Justin play the flute for the child, which was stuck with her necklace. Meanwhile, the male leader reaches there and takes those girls out. All the girls are brought to a place, where old tribal women come and check the virginity of the 3 girls, in which Justin is found virgin, and they send the 2 girls back to the cage. While returning to the cage, a girl saw a boat there. Here those wild people makes Justin unconscious and take her to another place. Justin's friend wants to escape from the cage, but it was difficult because a tribal man was guiding that place. Then they get an idea, and Alejandro's friend plays the ringtone in a cell phone and throws it out, due to which the tribal guard leaves that place for checking it. Justin's friend gets a chance to escape from the cage, and then she hides herself on the side of the boat. After some time, Justin is sent back to the cage and her body is strangely colored, but she doesn't know what happened to her. Meanwhile, all the friends were having food. Then one of them saw that there is a body skin in the bowl and a tattoo was made on it. Here Justin's friend realizes that this tattoo is of the girl who ran away from the cage. So she panics and thinks that she will be killed too, and she slits her throat. After the death of the girls, their friend put drug in their mouth, so that when the tribals took her to cook, so they becomes unconscious due to this drug, and the same happens. Then they try to escape from the cage. Here Alejandro does not become a part of this plan, and makes a boy unconscious so that he does not leave alone there. Justin and the male survivors flee that place. And when the boy regains consciousness, there are 2 tribal men sitting there. And after some time they try to eat the boy as raw, but he starts running to save his life. Due to intoxication, the tribes become more wild and they eat him as raw. On the other hand, Justine and male survivor had reached the bank of river, and they stars moving toward crushed airplane. Going ahead, when both reach that place, they see that wild people had made that place a shrine. Justine takes the communication device, but those wild tribals arrive there, and they makes both of them unconscious again. Next morning Justine wake up and she notice that she has been adorned for a ritual. Then Justine looks at her friend, whom the wild people are beating a lot, after they put a plant paste on him, due to which wild ants come on his body and start eating him. Being helpless, he could not act, except shouting. Old female leader is going toward Justine. Then a wild tribal boy brings the head of someone there. Here the whole tribes come to know about the intruders, and they all go to the forest to fight them. Seeing this, Justine saves herself very cleverly. Then she goes to her friend where he says, "Please kill me and give me a piece." Sudden a wild child comes there and kill that man. Justine take communication device from his pocket, and starts running toward the forest. Then Alejandro calls Justine for his help, but she does not help him and leaves him alone. Here some wild people sees Justine running toward the forest and they chase her. But those wild peoples could not catch her, because going ahead in the forest, there is a war going on between the tribals and soldier. Justine moves ahead and she observed that soldier is killing the tribals. Then she showing the communication device to soldiers, and tries to indicate that she is a survivor. Here soldiers stop and ask her, "Is anyone else left here except you?" Justine says no. And finally, with the help of helicopter, Justine is sent to her home safely. Afterward Justine tells the officers, her all friends have been dead in a plane crash. And the local tribals helped me a lot in the forest. Here Justine lies because the tribals people living in that place could stop the deforestation. This story end here, and thank for watching.